What was the biggest reason the Cowboys got blown out last night?
Well, before I go into that, Skip, from what I've seen this year and what I've seen a little bit of last year, Buda Baker is the best safety in football, and I will provide no more commentary, no more comments at this time on that issue. The reason why they lost, Skip, is
what was that about?
Did you watch him last night? You say you like to see guys that flash.
Yeah.
Did he flash?
Sure he did.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, but your point is what?
I said before.
Are you arguing against some other safety or what?
No. I said before.
Okay, we all saw that. We get that. That's why I picked the Cardinals to be a wild card team, and you laughed at me. Aha. But thank you for bringing that up.
I also laughed at you when you said the Cowboys would win 12 games. I laughed
I
at you.
did not say that's a lie.
Well, okay,
that's a flat-out lie.
What was the record?
10.
Okay, they're going to get 10.
Yeah, well, I think they're going to win the East.
No, you said 10 wins.
Yeah.
Okay, now what I was saying.
Okay. Did you predict my quarterback would be gone for the year?
I predict. No. Okay, let me finish.
Yeah.
To make my point, the reason why the Cowboys lost this ball game last night is that their defense is historically bad through the first 6 games, and Zeke turned the football over. So when you turn the football over, Skip, and your defense is historically bad, you want to minimize how many snaps your defense is actually on the field. You don't want to put them out there and put them on short fields any more than you absolutely possibly can. And so once they did that, they turned the ball over because now they're really bad in turnover margin, Skip. They were already bad going into it. So now you turn the ball over again 4 times. So let this sink in. The Cowboys teams have scored on every single possession in which the Cowboys have turned the football over. You're going to lose more times than not. They don't have one of these defenses, Skip. If you turn the ball over, they might can hold them to a field goal or they might can force a punt. They got teams driving. Kyler Murray comes out first play, 80 yard, boom, throws it back. So that lets you know they're giving up 36 points a game. And yesterday, Skip, I said, if you force me, I would say Andy Dalton is the best quarterback in the NFC East. That was an indictment on the quarterback play in that division. That wasn't an endorsement of Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is who I thought he was. Under his watch, he played 13 games last year. They got the #1 overall pick. That Andy Dalton did that. For me, Skip, I believe it's going to get there's something going on here. Now, I don't know if they're watching film. Maybe they have these Zoom things, Skip. But they act as if they didn't know Kyler Murray had escapability, that he could roam. What I'm seeing is that what they saw on film is that the Cowboys' defensive ends, they like to get nosy and play the run inside. And guess what? Kyler Murray. Yeah. You see how Kyler Murray kept getting the edges?
I didn't notice getting nosy playing the run inside. I've been watching close. I ain't seen none of that.
So explain to me how Kyler Murray kept getting around the edge.
What did I tell you while he was in college?
No, Skip,
I told you when he was in college. Wait, you asked me a question. I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
I told you in college, quickest feet I've seen since Barry Sanders, and you laughed at me. Okay. And what did you see last night, Mr. Sharpe, Hall of Famer? What did you see on display? They're the most electric feet I've seen since Barry Sanders.
Okay, all that being said,
yes.
If you know he has electric feet, how in the hell do the Cowboys keep letting him get the edge? Answer me that, Mr. 40-year vet in the media.
Jalen Smith spied him every freaking play. Every play. Jalen Smith, who ran 4.5 coming out. And Kyler is so quick that even with the spy, he was beating the spy to the flank every time. Yeah. Every time.
If you know that,
thank you.
If you know Jalen
Thank you
Smith,
for bringing that up.
If you know Jalen Smith is spying, the ends have to come upfield so Jalen Smith can meet him. If you let him get the edge, Skip, even from that position, as fast as Kyler Murray is, Jalen Smith is not going to be able to catch him. If you let him get the edge, you have to keep him contained. That's what you do. You box him in. You don't let him get the edge. All that being said is that Zeke turned the football over, and he's going to have it's in his head now because we've seen this over the last 3 games, Skip, and that was a problem that Zeke really never had before, is turning the football over. But when your defense is as bad as the Cowboys and your offense puts them in harm's way, you get this on a Monday night. But I'm not surprised by this because now, at some point in time, we blame Chris Richard. We blame Jason Garrett. Who was the defensive coordinator before? Rod Marinelli. We blame Rod Marinelli. Now they got a new defensive coordinator. They got a new head coach. And a lot of those same players that we placed the blame on Chris Richard, on Rod Marinelli, and Jason Garrett are still there, and they're worse. So I need to know, is it still coaching? Or is it those players?
I'm glad you brought up the new head coach. He deserves much of the blame for what has been happening for 6 games because my team very easily could be 0-6.
Absolutely.
And the new head coach, for some reason, is not pushing any of the right emotional buttons in his team because I continue to see them come out ready to play, I think, and then get blown off the field and quit. I see it again and again and again. Is it my turn now?
It's your turn.
Okay.
Before you go, Skip, one thing. Just imagine if Kyler Murray had played really well throwing the football. He completed 9 passes, Skip. Just imagine if he was Kyler Murray, the Kyler Murray that you believed that he was going to be coming out of college. Might have been 50-10.
You were right. He got off to a shaky start. His coach thought he was a little too pumped for a home game,
yes.
back home in his home area. He's from Allen, which is just north of Dallas, a suburb, basically. I am so tired of watching both the 2019 and the 2020 Cowboys because the nightmare just keeps repeating over and over and over again. And now I had to endure a Monday nightmare.
Massacre.
It's just hard to stomach after a while when this team has known such heights of greatness, such epic achievement in the distant past that I grew up with. It's hard to watch what is happening right now because let's just take this year. With Dak Prescott still at quarterback, they fell behind quickly to the Rams 7-0. They hung in that game. So that was actually the best game they played all year. Dak threw a beautiful deep ball to Gallup at the end. He got called for a push-off, which I thought was completely bogus. But they lost, as usual. And then here we went. The Falcons come to Jerry World. The Cowboys were down 20-0 after the first quarter and 29-10 at halftime.
Yes.
And they miraculously stole a victory, and I still don't know how they did it, but they did it. And then they go to Seattle, and they're down 30-15 in the third quarter, which actually feels respectable given what's been happening. And then Cleveland comes to Jerry World. Cleveland, we saw Cleveland just stink it up.
Lay an egg.
Okay, lay a big old goose egg. Cleveland had my Cowboys at home down 41-14 in the third quarter and rushed for 307 yards. The New York Football Giants, who now have 1 win to their name so far this year, they had my team down with Dak at quarterback 17-3 in the second quarter at home. And then last night happened. It was 21-3 at half. Then it was 31-3 in the third quarter, and it ended up 38-10. And I guess my only solace last night was at least Aaron Rodgers can relate to what it feels like to lose 38-10 because he just did it at Tampa. So that's my only tiny little takeaway of any ray of light from what happened last night. To your points, this team has by far the worst defense in football. And yet the irony last night was they actually came out playing pretty well on defense. They were flying around. Wolf Hunter is back. Leighton Vander Esch. I think he made it through the whole game. Big old number 55. He didn't do a whole lot, but at least he didn't get hurt.
Right.
And that's like a victory, right? A small victory.
Yeah,
moral
that's a
victory.
win for him.
It is a big win. And they made Kyler and company punt the first 3 times, and I thought, you know what? Maybe we're seeing some signs of life here. Now we're to turnover differential. This is beyond bad. This is minus 12 through 6 games. It's impossibly bad because they lead by 5. They are the worst by 5 in takeaway turnovers. The Eagles and the Vikings are minus 7. They're minus 12. Really? Minus 12? How can you do that? They have the fewest takeaways in football at minus 3, so the defense will not take the ball away.
Correct.
And they have turned it over by far the most times, 15-12 for the Vikings and Eagles. As you know, that is a recipe not just for losing, it's for disaster.
Absolutely.
Okay. So worst defense and turnover differential. And now on points allowed off turnovers, they are a minus 74. They've given up 74 points off turnovers. That's the worst in the last 20 years through the first 6 games.
Yes.
Think about that. This is historically bad on all fronts.
That was worse than I think the 13 Texans.
Yeah.
And that was the year they got Jadeveon Clowney with the #1 overall pick. They were 2-14.
Got it. Would you believe that now my defense has fallen all the way to second in rush yards allowed, second in the league, and just barely second? They're almost first because the Texans have given up 178 a game. They've given up, my Cowboys, 173 a game. And remember, 307 to Cleveland, and now last night, 216 to Arizona. To Arizona?
Skip, and the thing,
216?
What should have been embarrassing, Skip, is that the last play, Arizona's just trying to run out the clock, Skip.
Yeah.
Gone. And he hits his head on the goalpost from 70.
It's quit. Okay, so here's my biggest takeaway. Last night, Andy Dalton was the least of my problems.
Right.
The biggest of my problems was the best player on the field for my team, and it's Ezekiel Elliott. Shannon, I keep telling you, I keep waiting to see good old Zeke, and I see shell of self. I thought maybe he would come out last night possessed to win one for his best friend Dak. He dedicated the season to Dak Prescott, who suffered a freakish accident of a tragic injury that cost him the rest of the year. I still can't quite process how it happened. And I thought Zeke, after the burst we saw at the end of the Giants game in which he scored and held up a #4 for his #4 Dak Prescott, and I thought we were going to get to see this last night about 3 or 4 times. And I saw tiny little bursts early, but I saw unfocused. I saw not completely into it, because you've seen running backs come out and just like Ronald Jones right now for Tampa, he just comes out and he plays with a rage, and he's going to get 100 whether you like it or not. Zeke has now gone 6 straight games to start this year without going over 100 yards. That has something, if not a lot, to do with you fall behind so quickly.
Right.
But he's third on the team in catches because they target him a lot.
That's not a good thing, though.
But he's not doing much with the balls that he catches, because he's 31st in yards per catch among those qualified who catch. So it's he's averaging 6.4 per catch. It's not enough.
No.
He's not hurting you. He's not making you pay.
Those passes, Skip, are behind or near the line of scrimmage.
They are. So first fumble occurs. What happens? Andy Dalton actually did a nice job of escaping the blitz rush, because Vance Joseph, which, as he should have been, was all over him.
He was bringing gas.
Bringing just the house.
He was.
He was bringing 4 houses. They were coming from everywhere, and Andy Dalton did a nice job of escaping, and he flipped it to Zeke. And when the play occurred, my first thought was, he'll break this one loose for 20 yards because there'll be nobody home in the middle of the field.
Right, because they came on the blitz.
And your man Buddha was on the spot, and he got a hand on the football, and it's loose, and it's fallen upon by a red jersey.
I don't think Zeke didn't anticipate. Skip, because the thing is, Zeke sees the blitz. He's like, okay, I got this. I'm gone now.
He thought he was gone.
And he relaxed.
I thought he was gone.
Yes.
And then we turn it right around before I can even catch my breath, a series or so later, and he fumbles again and gets stripped. And the first one allowed a 54-yard drive, but the second one allowed a 27-yard drive to the 14-0 touchdown. It won't work. And what happened was the defense played inspired for a little while, but after you go fumble, all of a sudden even the defense is saying, okay, that's enough.
Here we go again.
And then it comes down to 19 seconds left in the first half. And Andy Dalton actually drove them down and made a couple of good throws, and he made a very good throw to Michael Gallup at the goal line. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be 21-7. Here it is. And they get the ball to start the second half. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe they can climb back into this game. We can have sort of a mini Dak here rally. And Michael Gallup, who's been his favorite target so far, you just have to snag that one. You just have to catch it. Okay, and it rips what's left of your heart out, because it's 21-3 at halftime. And then if I could, then we get to the third quarter, and even the refs are just looking down their nose at this team, because CeeDee Lamb, their stud rookie, he gets open, I thought, for a second, and Drake Kirkpatrick just tackles him in the middle of the field, just tackles him. And Andy Dalton throws it where he thinks CeeDee is going to break to, and it's just a tackle, and the primary receiver becomes Drake Kirkpatrick, and it's an interception. after they had moved the ball. He just hit Amari for 26 yards. And I thought, okay, maybe they'll make it respectable. And then the ceiling fell in.
Skip, aren't you asking yourself, where is CeeDee Lamb? Where is Amari Cooper when the score is 7-0? Where are these guys when it's 14-0? Where are these guys? It seems to me that they can't find these guys until they're down 21-3 or 41-14. Where are these guys in the meantime, Skip? Are they not there?
Good question. Okay, here's the worst insult to injury. I've gone from the best offensive line in football to, and I'm not exaggerating, the worst offensive line in football. I had one stud lineman left last night going into this game, and his name is Zach Martin. And mid-first quarter, he gets kneed in the head by my own guy, Zeke. If it had been a Cardinal who kneed him in the head, I'd take it, but Zeke got him right in the head and knocked him woozy, and he teeters off the field. It was a 4-yard gain, and boom, right in the head.
That's the one that gets you right there.
Got him good. And number 70 is out of the game, concussed.
Yes.
And I don't know if he'll be ready for Washington. They have to go to Washington or not. So I want you to think about this. I'm down to 2 undrafted free agents. One of them a rookie, one a second-year player at my tackles in place of Ty Smith and Lyle Collins. Those are Pro Bowlers. They're all pro-quality tackles, right?
Ty Smith is on the Hall of Fame, Mark.
He's on a Hall of Fame. He probably will be in the Hall of Fame. As you well know, my center, Travis Frederick, was forced to retire. So you have a rookie from Wisconsin in at center right now, a 4th-round pick. It's a little shaky if you're, okay.
He ain't Frederick.
Okay, so now I have at right tackle a Connor McGovern who'd been viewed as something of a bust so far because he was
McGovern Williams.
But he replaced Zach Martin.
So you got 2 Connors.
2 Connors. But he's from Penn State, a 3rd-round pick, so he's in his 2nd year, but he hadn't been able to do much, and he got thrown into the fire last night. And Connor Williams has been the weakest link when it was the best offensive line. The weakest link was Connor Williams, and he's still left at left guard, unfortunately. Yeah. So those 5 are trying to protect a quarterback who got thrown into the red blazing Arizona fire last night, the desert fire. And what do you think's going to happen? Well, mostly Andy Dalton's going to be running for his life. Yeah. And that's pretty much the sum story of the night.
And they're generating this kind of pressure without their best pass rusher in Chandler Jones. Can you imagine had he been healthy in that game? Andy Dalton, they might have had to just snap the ball to the running back and just say, take off, son, because we can't block here. But anytime you give it away and you don't take it away, as you mentioned, it's a recipe for disaster. And they're giving it away at an alarming rate. Skip, you don't expect your defense to take the ball away 4 times a game, but you damn sure don't expect your offense to turn it over. And what we're seeing is that they're turning it over. They're 6 games in. They have, 15? So they're only 2.5, almost 2.5 turnovers a game. And you got 3. So you're getting 0.5 turnovers per game, creating 0.5. Well, your defense is so bad is that, okay, you might force them to a field goal. Skip, they're getting touchdowns. You're not making them punt. It doesn't matter where you turn the ball over. The team is taking that football and driving it down the field. And so I think Zeke is also, Skip, Zeke is pressing. Zeke is like, I got to do something. I got to do something. I got to do something. And as you mentioned, says, I want to dedicate this season. He's trying to do too much. Just go back to being Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott is good enough without adding this extra burden on his plate because he knows, Skip, defensively, we're not that good. And if I don't have a 100-yard game, if I don't control this tempo, we're going to drop back the pass. He see all those guys. He's like, well, hell, I can barely run. No Ty Smith, no Lyle Collins, no Zach Martin, no Travis Frederick, Connor Williams. Ooh. And so he's like, and he's trying to do too much, Skip. He's trying to do too much. And when you try to do too much, and now what his guys have seen on tape, let's tackle the football. Damn him. Let's tackle the football. Now, he better address this. Because guys, they're going after the ball now, Skip, because they know, and he's going to be more conscious of it, so he's not going to be able to break the tackles that he normally would make because he's focused on the football.
Yep. If you have to wrap up, you can't have as much wiggle.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just wish that either the Eagles or the Giants or the Redskins had put me out of my misery by at least taking off, because then I could just give up and focus on Tom Brady the rest of the year.
Nope.
But they won't let me. I have to continue to watch because now we've got Thursday night Giants at Eagles, right, and then Sunday we got Cowboys at Washington. And what am I supposed to do with it? just suffer.
The two football
Just
teams.
suffer.
Y'all should not be known as the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Dallas football team takes on the Washington football team. That's what it should be known as. Because both of y'all are terrible.
Well, how can you put football in front of team? It's just a team. They're
Okay,
not
the
even
Dallas-
a football
the
team.
Dallas team?
They're the Dallas team.
Skip, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
It's beyond embarrassing. Truly, last night I was just humiliated by the end of the game. It was the third worst home loss at Jerry World, but it felt like the worst.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this, Skip, and I'm watching. I'm like, dude, I mean, I pulled the tape, Skip. Watch this. I want this touchdown run here by Kenyon Drake. We got that copy. You watch what they do to Aldon Smith. He's in the circle. Look at this, Skip. Look where he is. He's 5 yards deep in the end zone. Look at this, Skip.
I don't know. I can't explain it.
And like I said, the last play, Skip, we just want a first down. Hey, we're in our 4-minute package. We just want to get a first down. And the guy hits his head on the goalpost in a situation like that. That's unacceptable. See, I think what has happened, Skip, is that we look at all the guys that have gotten big dollars, and it says, okay, they got to be good. But you tell me, outside of that game that your guy had last week where he called that strip sack and he got a scoop and score, you tell me he's lived up to $21 million.
He has not.
Skip, that's one sack. That's 1.5 sack in about 18, 19 games for $21 million. Jalen Smith, Skip, and that's why I told you last week, I said, Skip, I understand that Pro Football Focus said it pro. Ain't no way you play that good one week and then you drop completely off the following week. That's unacceptable. And guess what? You're running out of, because you blame Rob Marinelli, you blamed Chris Richard, you blame Jason Garrett. You're running out of people to blame because you got a new head coach, a new D-line coach, a new D coordinator.
And a new head coach.
Told y'all overvalued.
They're not responding to. They are not responding to Mike McCarthy.
Skip, that guy up in Green Bay that's still up there, he's special. He bailed that guy out a lot. And what you're seeing right now is that when you don't get exemplary, and Dak has played well, this is only 6 games. I mean, he was playing well, playing from behind, but you can't play. That just lets you know, think about if Aaron Rodgers was not as historically great as he's been, what the Packers would be, because the Packers had some defenses like that. They finished, Aaron Rodgers had that team 15-1 the year Eli came there and beat them. They had the 32nd ranked defense in football, but they were 15-1 because Aaron Rodgers was the MVP and was exemplary. Well, if you don't get that kind of quarterback play and your defense is that bad, that's what it looks like on Monday night.
We're going to discuss just how historically great Aaron Rodgers hasn't been, but that's coming up in a few minutes here on Undisputed. Thank you.
He hasn't been.
Hasn't been.
He's been better than the Cowboys.
I worry about you, Skip, watching those games.
I don't.
The video you
I would love it.
Stressed out. I know, Shannon, you got to feel for him just a little
I know. And stop tweeting. Ain't no referees. And stop tweeting Michael Gallup. No, I don't want to see your tweet. Do not tweet.
I appreciate you following me.
A lot of videos. Just the video of you with big size, Skip. That's the one I was watching.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.